So, if you're a vegan and you don't take a B12 supplement or make sure that you get your B12 levels checked, you might be at risk of developing a deficiency in this very critical and important nutrient. A study showed that vegans can be up to 83% deficient in B12, 68% for vegetarians, and just 5% for omnivores. So that's a pretty big difference, and it can take many, many years too to get a B12 deficiency. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you haven't been eating that way very long, chances are you probably don't have a B12 deficiency unless you got and went into the diet with a B12 deficiency already. Now, sometimes when you get B12 deficient, the effects of it can be irreversible. So it's really important to make sure that you're on top of your game when you're deciding that you're going to do something like that, and really make sure that you're getting all of the nutrients that you need, because your health should come first. Now, the two best ways to get your B12 levels back up are to eat B12 foods and to supplement. And of course, eating B12 rich foods would mean eating animal foods like liver and oysters and clams and mussels and, beef or cheese, eggs. Many of these foods contain all of the B12 that you need. And B12 contains a trace element called cobalt, which is why it's called cobalamin. And cobalamin is only produced in the gut of animals. So you can't get that from plants or sunlight. And plants don't need B12 because they don't store it. So there's this idea, though, amongst vegans and vegetarians that you can get all the B12 that you need from plant sources like seaweed, spirulina, brewer's yeast, but they don't actually contain B12. They're what's called B12 analogs called cobamides, and that block intake of and increase the need for true B12. So you might be thinking you're getting all this B12, right? Because it's listed on, say, brewer's yeast or spirulina or whatever. But that's not actually the B12 that your body really needs. Now, if you're going to supplement with B12, there's also important to know that there's different forms of it. So you have cyanocobalamin, which is the most frequent form that is used in supplementation. And then there's hydroxycobalamin, which is frequently found in Europe, and that's superior to cyanocobalamin. And then lastly, you have methylcobalamin, which appears to be superior to both forms because it can help with neurological disease. And they think that's probably because methylcobalamin bypasses several problems in the B12 absorption cycle and doesn't need to be decyanated or reduced to the state that can cross the blood-brain barrier. So there is good formulas out there, like Jarl's Formulas Methyl B12. You have Jarl's Formulas B Right, and in those formulas you have that form of B12. There's other companies that also use some good forms of B12, but those are some of the good ones, and those are the ones that I have used. But really, if you're just eating good, wholesome foods, like if you eat oysters or sardines, you're going to get tons of B12. I mean, those foods are jam-packed of nutrients. They're some of the most nutrient-dense foods that you can eat. And it's food, food is always going to be a lot superior than any supplement. But supplement is good in addition to a healthy diet. So this video is mostly just to talk about the importance of B12, especially for those who are practicing vegans and vegetarians, and also for omnivores too, because there's also this belief that, well, if you're eating meat and all these different things, that you won't be B12 deficient. And that isn't always the case. There's a lot of people that eating standard American diet, maybe you have gut issues, like with SIBO, for example. An impaired gut can mean impaired absorption of B12. So there's different circumstances that could cause someone to become B12 deficient even while eating animal foods. But for the most part, the studies clearly show that the vegans and the vegetarians are more at risk to develop B12 deficiency, and that's something to be aware of if you're deciding that that's how you want to live and eat. B12 deficiency can cause and is associated with all of these different problems: premature aging, neurological disorders similar to presentation to multiple sclerosis, stroke, heart disease, developmental or learning disabilities in children, male and female infertility. You can have an impaired immune function, cancer, autoimmune disease, brain fog, memory problems, cognitive decline. So there's a lot of problems that can happen when you're B12 deficient. And finally, there's 7 good reasons why you should be making sure you get a lot of B12 in your diet, because it can help support your energy. It helps create energy. It keeps your cells fed. It can protect your heart, because one of its jobs is to remove a dangerous protein called homocysteine from the blood, and if homocysteine is allowed to roam through the blood, it can damage your arteries and lead to inflammation and heart disease. So B12 is good for your homocysteine levels. Your bones need it. It helps prevent nerve damage. It can help improve your mood and outlook, because your brain uses a chemical called serotonin, which helps to regulate your mood. And if you aren't getting enough of the B12, you can find yourself feeling down. And also, people that supplement with B12 often report of feeling and having a more positive outlook on life. And it can help protect your brain health. It's been shown that Alzheimer's patients have a much lower level of B12 than those of the similar age who have sharp, clear memory. Because B12 helps protect nerve cells, it helps protect the myelin sheaths of brain cells that are often lacking in Alzheimer's patients. So a lot of times, if you're older and you seem like you're having memory problems, it could be because you have just a lack of B12. And finally, it can help you keep looking and feeling young. You know, your aging happens when your cells begin to wear and tear. And as they age faster, when your DNA doesn't replicate correctly, many of these factors can affect this replication, like free radicals, toxins, high blood sugar, high levels of omega-6 in your diet. Well, B12 actually supports your DNA health. It keeps your cells younger. And when your cells are young, you will look and feel younger. So guys, make sure that you're getting enough B12. If you want to purchase B12, then click the link down below in the description box. Guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like it, please make sure you like and subscribe. Again, don't forget that if you are looking to buy a B12 supplement, you can find the link down below in the description box. You can click on there and you'll be redirected to purchase that. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video and supporting this channel. I very much appreciate it. And finally, let me know if you guys take a B12 supplement and what kind of B12 that you like to take. So guys, with that, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.